Moments ago in Alberta, Canada, world leaders taking their seats at a roundtable meeting kicking off the G7 summit. It is the 51st meeting of the group of seven represented by the U.S., Canada, UK, Australia, Germany, Japan, and France. High on the agenda, the Israel-Iran conflict and global trade. Now, earlier today, President Trump held a one-on-one meeting with Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney as the two try to reach a trade agreement. Trump's 90-day pause on tariffs for key U.S. trading partners expires on July 9th. Let's get to the White House now and CBS News reporter Willie James Inman. Willie, the president also took the opportunity to criticize President Barack Obama and former Prime Minister Justin Trudeau. What did he say?
Yeah, that's right. That criticism was in part because of Russia being kicked out of what was then the G8 and now has become the G7. The president was asked about whether or not Russian President Vladimir Putin should have a seat at the table. Take a listen to what he said earlier.
Have you heard any signals or seen any messages from intermediaries that Iran wishes to de-escalate the conflict?
Yeah.
What have you heard? What have you heard from the Iranians?
They'd like to talk, but they should have done that before. I had 60 days, and they had 60 days, and on the 61st day, I said, we don't have a deal. They have to make a deal, and it's painful for both parties, but I'd say Iran is not winning this war, and they should talk, and they should talk immediately before it's too late.
And what would you say, in your opinion, what would it take for the U.S. to get involved in this conflict militarily?
I don't want to talk about that.
As you mentioned Putin, do you think that he should have a seat at the G7 today, that it should be the G8?
I'm not saying he should at this point, because too much water's gone over the dam, maybe.
Now, you heard what the president said there about Russia and Russian President Vladimir Putin at the back end of his statement there. But he also mentioned Iran, which is certainly center focus, as you mentioned perfectly, Liz, before you came to me here at the White House. This ongoing conflict that the U.S. and the president have repeatedly said the U.S. is not involved with that Israeli strike against Iran. Now, I will point out that U.S. officials have pointed out that the U.S. has been able to help Israel defend itself in terms of shooting down some of those missiles that we've seen come over and in some cases get through Israeli defenses. The U.S. has been helping shoot down some of those missiles, we have been able to report. But the president essentially talking about the situation earlier this weekend, he said Israel and Iran need to make a deal. He talked about calls being made, and I also point out that he spoke with President Putin of Russia over the weekend. The two men talked about the situation between Russia and Ukraine, prisoner swaps that are happening or that are in the works, I should say. But on top of that, Putin not only wished the president a happy birthday, but talked about ending the Israeli and Iranian conflict. And it was then that President Trump brought up that Putin should end his war, meaning the Russia and Ukraine war. So a lot of points, conversations that leaders could have, a lot of topics to talk about. And one of them will certainly be that conflict happening in the Middle East, but also the one happening in Europe as well, Liz.
Another headline coming out today, Willie, we understand the Trump name is going on a new mobile service, like cell phone service. What can you tell us about that?
Yeah, that's right. The cell phone service will cost about $47. Of course, that's probably a nod to the 47th president of the United States. Now, this is, of course, separate from what the president is doing. This is his family. His son, Eric Trump, was part of this announcement that he made on Fox Business earlier today. It is just an addition into what the Trump family has sought to do in terms of monetizing their name. We've seen them make real estate deals, not only here in the United States, but across the world. We've seen them go into cryptocurrency, into different types of things, merchandise, for instance, perfume, the president selling sneakers. Essentially anything that Americans can buy, they can buy with the Trump name on it now. And now you have the cell phone service is one of those things that the the American people will be able to get their hands on. But one of the things that the Trump family is making sure to point out is that in terms of servicing this mobile service, whatever it turns out to be, it will be focused here in the United States. It's unclear how much those workers will get paid, and they'll still work out the details, and we'll bring that to you. But certainly another development with the Trump family finding a way to monetize their name yet again.
Willie James Inman, live for us at the White House. Always great to see you, Willie. Thank you.